I'm 90 years old. At this age, death is no longer a distant concept. It's more like an old friend sitting quietly in the corner of my room every morning, smiling, waiting patiently for me to get up. I've buried my wife. I've said goodbye to friends I thought would outlast me. I've even outlived the rivals who once wanted to swallow me whole in business. And somewhere along the way, I outlived the version of myself who spent decades performing for other people's approval. I am standing at the very edge of the cliff called life. When I look down, I can see the rocks at the bottom clearly. But before I go, I need to turn around and say something to you. The one still at the party, the one still drinking, like the night will never end. Because you are living inside a very comfortable lie. You believe you have time. You spend your days like you have an unlimited bank account, withdrawing freely, never once checking the balance. I'm here to tell you something cold and simple. The account is nearly empty, and I'm not talking about mine. Let me tell you about my old friend Joe, 1985. Joe was the most ambitious, most capable man I had ever met. A true operator, always hunting, never resting, never satisfied. I remember the night we signed a contract that would change both our companies. Joe was sunk into a leather chair, cigar in hand, smoke drifting around his face. His eyes were bright in a way that was almost frightening. He put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Old Foo, 5 more years, that's the plan. 5 years, I hit my number, and I'm out. I'm going to take my wife around the world. I'm going to build a wooden house in the countryside with my own hands. I'm going to start really living." Joe had a roadmap, detailed, month by month, precise. 3 days later, he walked out of his office on the way to a client meeting, grabbed his chest, and collapsed on the pavement. He didn't even have time to cry out. Heart attack. He was 41. He never took that trip, not one. The wooden house, not a single plank was ever cut. I stood at his coffin, and I did not feel sadness. I felt something closer to terror. Joe hadn't died from bad luck. He died from a story he told himself every single day, that the good life was coming, that it was just around the corner, that he only had to hold on a little longer. The tragedy wasn't his death. Every one of us will die. The tragedy was that Joe spent his entire life sitting in a waiting room for a flight that was never going to board. And here's the detail that says everything. Within 2 weeks of his death, his company had posted a job listing to replace him. Within a year, the clients who used to call him brother couldn't remember his full name. When I look at you through this screen, I see Joe's face. You are telling yourself the same lies. Once I get the promotion, I'll be happy. When the kids are a little older, I'll travel. Once he apologizes first, then I'll forgive him. Here is what 90 years has taught me. There is no later. There is only now. If you keep trading your certain present for an uncertain future, you are making the single worst bet in human history. Now let's talk about your things. I watch your generation and I see people completely possessed by possessing, spending money you don't have on things you don't need to impress people you don't even like. You want to know what I own right now? A room barely 15 square meters, a hard bed, a wooden chair that creaks when I sit down, and a black and white photograph of my wife when she was young. When I was your age, I had a house with a swimming pool, the most expensive car I could find, a garage full of things that felt important. Standing here now, at the end of it all, I can tell you with complete clarity, none of it meant a thing.
I have attended more funerals than I can count. Not once, not a single time, have I seen a hearse followed by a truck hauling the deceased's furniture and luxury goods. When you die, your children will hire a stranger to clean your house. That stranger will take 90% of everything you bled and lost sleep to acquire and put it straight into a garbage truck. The remaining 10% might end up on a second-hand table somewhere, going for a few dollars each. That is the material total of a lifetime of striving. So tell me, why are you working 60 hours a week, missing your daughter's graduation, just to pay for a car that traps you in traffic every single morning and makes you furious? That is not ambition, that is madness. And the cruelest part? You will not recognize it as madness until you are sitting exactly where I am sitting. And by then, there are no refunds. Let me tell you about 1979. I won my city's Entrepreneur of the Year award. That night, the grandest hotel, everyone in their best clothes. When I walked up to collect the trophy, a heavy crystal thing, the entire room rose to its feet. The applause was thunderous. The lights were blinding. I felt in that moment like I had won the game called life.
I drove home late, trophy on the seat beside me. The house was dark. My wife was already asleep. The children were already asleep. I sat alone in the kitchen, poured a whiskey, and I stared at this object on the table in front of me, catching the light. Then the room went completely, absolutely silent, and I saw something I had not seen before. Every person in that hall who praised me, congratulated me, stood for me. Not one of them cared how I was actually doing as a human being. They cared what my resources could do for their interests. And the people who loved me unconditionally, asleep upstairs, I hadn't eaten one dinner with them in 6 months. I missed my son's most important match for a work presentation. I canceled my wedding anniversary to close a business deal. That trophy is sitting in a storage room somewhere right now. I don't even know which box it's in. But the look on my wife's face, that quiet, unmistakable disappointment the night I called to say I wasn't coming home, that is burned into my memory permanently. That stayed. The trophy did not. Your title, your salary, your status in your field, that is not your legacy. That is a transaction. You are selling irreplaceable hours of your life to build someone else's castle. If you died at your desk tonight, I promise you, the job posting would go up online faster than your obituary gets printed. Do not bow to your work. It has no heart. It will never love you back. When your last light goes out, the hand holding yours in the dark will not belong to your company. So what actually remains? Not the deals, not the trophies, not the things. Here is what plays on repeat in my mind now. My wife, standing in a sunlit kitchen on an ordinary Sunday, turning around from the oven, bread slightly burned, smiling at me like nothing else existed. My daughter at 3 years old, laughing so hard, missing her front tooth, making the most ridiculous sound through the gap. A winter blizzard, a complete stranger, car buried in snow, me with a shovel, both of us sweating in the cold, pushing until it finally moved. I never learned his name. That's it. The love you gave away freely, the time you spent on people you loved, the small kindness offered to a stranger. Those are the only things that survive the end. Those are the only things you actually get to keep. So here is what I want to leave you with. 3 things. No padding. First, kill your vanity. You are paralyzed by what other people think. You won't take the risk. Say how you feel. Speak the truth out loud, because you are terrified of looking like a fool. Let me free you from that right now. Nobody is watching you.
Everyone is too busy drowning in their own anxiety to pay attention to yours. You are the main character only inside your own head. In everyone else's world, you are a blurred figure passing through the background. The people judging you today, their ashes and their opinions will rot in the same ground a few decades from now. Second, learn the last time gaze. Start doing this today. Whatever you are doing, remind yourself quietly, there will be a last time. There will be a last day you can physically pick up your child. You won't know it was the last time until it's gone. There will be a last morning you kiss your partner. There will be a last cup of coffee. If you carry that awareness into ordinary moments, you will never waste them again. You will hold the hug 5 seconds longer. You will actually taste the coffee. Third, wake up. You are holding a golden ticket into this world, a working body, time that hasn't been spent yet, and you are choosing to curl up in a dark room, numbing yourself on a screen the size of your hand, scrolling through noise that leaves nothing behind. Stop the slow damage. Go outside. Let the wind hit your face. Look up. The sky is different every single day. Call the person you've been putting off calling. Forgive the one you've been refusing to forgive. Not for their sake, but because you don't have enough time left to carry someone else's weight around with you. We are all walking toward the same end. The only question is whether you actually lived before you arrived there. Don't be someone who simply maintained a heartbeat for 80 years and called it a life. Go eat the meal you've been putting off. Buy the ticket you've been afraid to buy. Say sorry to the person you hurt. And be the first one to say, I love you, because there is no later. There is only right now.